Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. West Ham could have won today and went 7. Unfortunately, they didn't. It just finished Burnley 2, West Ham United 0. We're here to discuss the highlights and what went wrong for the Hammers. Gonzo wasn't the best start by West Ham. They scored in the 50th minute, but even prior to that, they had a couple of opportunities, and Ashley Barnes should have scored after about 90 seconds. But we've started slowly, even in the games we've won. We've started quite slowly in them, but this was a different level of slow.
Yeah, I mean, people were making all the turkey analogies, weren't they? That the players had too much turkey over Christmas and all the rest of it. I'd say it looked like they watched too many Disney films. They're playing like a bunch of fairies, quite a few of them. They were up for it. It was a big game for Burnley, and they came at us because they needed it. They really, it was must win for Burnley, and it looked like a must win for Burnley, and it looked like it didn't matter whatever result for us.
Tom, on the 15th minute, Chris Wood has now scored 13 Premier League goals. 38% of them have come up against West Ham United. It was a very Burnley goal, though. Long ball up to Ashley Barnes, who dominates. I think it's Ogbonna in there. Diop doesn't know where Chris Wood is, and it's a decent finish by Chris Wood. It's quite a tight angle, but he does really well and smashes it past Fabianski. 1-0 Burnley and a deserved lead. Sorry.
Yeah, completely, mate. Completely deserved. They was at us right from the start, weren't they? Like Gonzo said, completely agree. I actually thought that would have worked in our favour. You know how desperate they were today to get points. So I thought they'd be a bit nervy, and we're full of confidence. We can get at them, but it weren't the case at all. It was the complete opposite. They were terrific. They really got at us. And that long ball killed us all day, especially Barnes with Ogbonna. Ogbonna just couldn't deal with him. And yeah, typical. First goal, fantastic. Yeah, Chris, what an unbelievable West Ham stat that is. What did you say? 38% of his goals have come against West Ham. That is unbelievable. I mean, it's just typical us. But yeah, great goal, fair play. They completely deserved it. We haven't woke up yet at all.
On the 34th minute, Gonzo, they doubled the lead. This time it came from the right. Another cross. The crosses were troubling us all half, and they just kept doing it. As I said to you on another show, Gonzo, you blindfold someone, you throw enough darts at the dartboard, you will hit the bullseye eventually. And Burnley just kept putting cross after cross after cross. This time, Ogbonna's standing mark, nobody in the box, so Diop has to go mark Ogbonna's player, which means Antonio has to go mark Diop's player, which means who's marking Antonio's one? Nobody. He's standing at the back post. To be fair to him, 19-year-old, just doing his second Premier League start for Burnley. It's a very, very tight angle, but he does really well. Very composed finish. 2-0 Burnley, Gonzo.
Yeah, well, I didn't have the best view of it, but it did look like there were certainly spare men, at least two of them at the far post. As I say, it was a bit rainy, should I say, the replay I had of it. But what worries me about all of this is it's almost like today Burnley provided a blueprint for how to beat West Ham. And I tell you what a terrible time to do it from West Ham with Brighton coming up, because Brighton will be looking, thinking, I'll have a bit of that, and they're going to carry on lumping it in exactly the same way as well. And you know what? You talk about Chris Woods, well, they got someone as well that likes scoring against West Ham. So, yeah, he done his homework, mate. He'd done his homework, Sean Dyche, and they were crossing it. They were ruthless. They were nasty. Ashley Barnes sliding some tackles. What's his name? Bardsley. The right back got in early against Anderson as well. Made it physical. Made Anderson shrink into himself as well. But yeah, long balls all day long.
Tom, is that possibly the first half? I went in 2-0 at half time. Is that possibly the worst 45 minutes you've seen under Pellegrini?
Yeah, I'd say so, except maybe against Liverpool, maybe. But obviously, that's one of the big boys. This is a team we shouldn't be struggling against. It was totally. The only word I can use is awful. It was absolutely shocking. We didn't. I'll tell you what happened. Recently, we've been imposing our game on other teams, but it was the complete opposite today. Burnley imposed their game on us, and we didn't have any answers for it. We was absolutely shocking. I'd say. I don't really want to use the word, but was there a bit of complacency there? Because it looked like it to me, because nobody looked up for it at all.
I thought we looked knackered, to be honest with you. I thought we looked tired. I thought you could tell. I thought Robert Snodgrass was anonymous in the first half. I don't even remember him doing much. I know he took a couple of decent corners, but it's not a criticism of Snodgrass. I think it's just caught up with him. The game time's now caught up with us. Our injuries are caught up with us. But it's no excuse. The players that are on the pitch should still be given 100%, but there wasn't any of that. And our tactics, Dyche absolutely fucked Pellegrini with tactics today, because Pellegrini kept the high line in. So even after about 10 minutes, before they went 1-0 up, it should have been obvious they're just going to keep putting it over the top of our defence. So let's do something about it. Let's get possession. We couldn't string 2 passes together, but we didn't. We went 1-0 down. They thought, okay, well, maybe now we're going to change it. We still didn't change it. We left until half-time to change something. And by then, the game's over. One of the worst teams. I don't really rate Burnley that much. I don't rate their defence, but their defence had nothing to do. We didn't get near them. We couldn't get the ball into their final third. And when we did, it just got booted right back up to Barnes or Wood, who dominated Diop and Ogbonna in the air so much. It was unbelievable. For 2 centre-backs in the Premier League, they're not very good in the air, and it showed today because they were absolutely bossed. They had 2 direct wingers either side. They kept coming out our fullbacks. We didn't have an answer for it. I had a look at half-time, the heat map for the first half. I'd say about 65% of their attacks came down our right-hand side. Perfect. Like Gonzo said, Dyche's done his homework. He knew exactly what to do. He gave everybody a job, and they done it superb. As much as we were crap, the one thing I don't want to do is take away how good Burnley were, because I think that's very, very easy to do. Look at West Ham, say we were crap today. But how many times do we come away with a win and someone say, well, that team of play was rubbish? Yes, they were, but you have to still beat them, and you still got to match them and do a bit more. They got their tactics spot on. Their players, all of their players gave 100%. And Gonzo made a key word there, and that's bullied. We were bullied all over the pitch today. Our 40 million signing didn't want to play today. He was probably waiting for that final whistle to go, because every time he got the ball, for Barnsley, putting a couple of niggly tackles on him in early doors, where he kicks his ankles, he crashes his whole body into Anderson's body, so it's not a booking. He just lets him know he's there, and it was fantastic by Burnley. Anyway, 2 subs at half-time. Dean Gannon and Carroll came on for Snodgrass and somebody, I think his name's Perez, but I'm not quite sure because we didn't actually see him on the pitch. Apparently he played. But Gonzo, it started just the way it finished. Burnley came looking for the third, and a couple of top saves by Fabianski.
Yeah, I mean, you like you say, Burnley were fantastic, and let's get this right. It could have been 5-6-7-0. So let's get that out. Let's get out of the way. We're not making any excuses, and even if we have done things a little bit better, it still could have been 3-0. We expect a change at half-time. We expect Pellegrini to roll the dice. He did change it, of course, but we expect an uplift in performance in the second half. That's what's usually come. Don't even mind going a goal down in many respects, the way we've been playing recently. That's fine. But nothing happened. It was exactly the same. You spoke about Perez being anonymous. There were a lot of anonymous players today. And Arnautovic had come back. Did he? Crikey, I believe so. The team sheet said so anyway. And I saw him going off at the end when he was substituted. Now, that might be fitness. So that might be... It may well be. It may well be, but he's not on his own, and it's incredibly disappointing. As such are the highs and lows of being a West Ham fan here. We get ourselves all blaming lubed up and all ready for action. Do you know what I mean? Thinking we're going to go into the top 7. Actually, no, we don't. We go and lose to Burnley. I had it wrong. I thought we'd beat Burnley and lose to Southampton. Oh, well, it's the other way around. Oh, well and good. I don't mind, but the one thing that has been a real characteristic of, to go back to your question, of Pellegrini's management, is we have a go. We create some attacks. We were insipid, to use Tone's word on the forum. We were insipid today. We provided nothing. We didn't go at them. And whilst we were bullied, we went into our shell. Okay, fine. So we lost the battle of fitness. We lost the battle of aggression, let's say. Well, let's see some technique. I'll tell you what, the technique was woefully poor today. You want to see, let's play some 1-2s. Let's do something else. I'll tell you what, dangerous thing to do just before transfer window, because I reckon Pellegrini will look at that today, and a couple of players have had their cards marked. I reckon he'll be shuffling the deck and thinking, actually, maybe there's 1 or 2 that can't play within my system. Maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I am, but I've got the right hump about today. I wanted to see a lot more. I'll take losing, go back and look at other losses. I'll sit here and say, absolutely, it's fine. But I tell you what, there was a lack of application. I didn't feel that they wanted it as much as those fans have travelled so far up there for that in real expectations. Now they've got to trudge all the way down, horrible long journey down as well. Happy New Year, really, isn't it?
Well, the 73rd minute, Silva came on for his debut, replacing Marko Najic. But Tom, in between, well, the whole second half, really, we had a few shots, but they had a few chances, and that's the difference between the two sides today, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. They were far more clinical. They were carving out proper opportunities, like you say. Just constantly with us playing that high line and that offside trap, like you say. I mean, I know you've already said it, but it's important because that was clearly their game plan going into this game. Just at every opportunity, put the ball over the top. The centre half don't win it and you're in. As long as you've kept yourself onside, you're in. And they just did it time and time again. It got a bit silly, like you say. So, Yeah, it could have been any scoreline today, and that's the biggest disappointment. I mean, I don't really think we offered anything. All of our chances were just half chances. They were nothing really, were they? Apart from, you'll probably discuss it a bit later, but Andy Carroll probably had the best chance of the match. But yeah, apart from that, nothing as far as I'm concerned. Just totally poor.
Well, that was it. Tom Heaton had to make one save, and that was from Andy Carroll right at the death there. A really good save by Heaton. But Tom, Carroll, come on, and what did you make of his performance today? Because so far, myself, Gonzo, and others have been saying he doesn't fit Pellegrini's system, but today we sort of he was a bit more prominent, if you like.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, mate, and I've completely agreed with you when you've said that in the past, completely. And it has looked the case the last few games when he's come on. He's looked out of place and he's looked out of sorts and he hasn't quite fitted into the system at all. It's like there isn't really a place for him. But today, he was really dangerous when he came on. At least he had a good go and flung himself about a little bit. He showed a bit of aggression when others around him weren't. So, yeah, I was impressed with him today. If he can keep going like that, happy days. And we did sort of try and play to his strengths a little bit more there. We were putting some balls into the box. That ball from Creswell for his chance was an absolute peach. Really, that should be in the back of the net, and it was a worldie of a save. But yeah, I can only give him praise because he was probably the most dangerous player on the park for us after he came on. So yeah, credit to him.
And it finished 2-0 Burnley. Gonzo, where's it gone wrong today? We've sort of all touched upon it a little bit, but overall,
everywhere. It's gone wrong everywhere. So you can watch a game, and I can take it if sometimes the midfield doesn't function. But every department, the forward line lacked effort and quality. The midfield lacked effort and quality. The defence lacked effort and quality. I don't think we can criticise Fabianski. And there were, I thought, 4 players on the pitch today who weren't totally disgraceful. But just so much of it was wrong. I just think so much of it was effort, and it's this. Maybe it's just West Ham Utd. Maybe we just get we just get close, and we just implode. Maybe it's not the players at all. Maybe it's us. I don't know, but I wanted to see more effort today, and I wanted to see a bit more reaction. And I mean, perhaps I'm being a little bit harsh. I mean, crikey, it felt like David Moyes had made guest appearance as manager today as well. It was like going back in time a season. But I do look, and I wonder if Pellegrini looks at that team today and he thinks, well, okay, there was maybe the injuries came back. Maybe we'd pushed our luck for so long, and when you take all those technical players out, we just lack the quality. You said string 2 passes together. I think that was a very, very wise thing to say. Some real lack of basic ball control and basic passing. But it wasn't just that. You said what was wrong? It's a lack of basic defending. There was a lack of basic runs being made. There was one point where Fabianski, I clocked it. It was in the 48th minute. Okay, they had an attack. Fabianski got the ball. And what's been happening in all our other games is Fabianski will look for it and Fabianski will do a big throw. He'll look to place a counter. Fabianski didn't make that throw because no one was darting to make the counter. A lot of Burnley players were up. We didn't look to make that darting running behind. That goal that we saw against Southampton where Antonio played it through to Anderson, that counter. The way we played against Newcastle, that quick counter-attack. It wasn't on, so actually just held on to the ball, looked around, booted it up there. No, that's why there was so much wrong today, Gio.
Tom?
What was that, mate? Sorry?
Just what went wrong today? What's your thoughts overall?
Well, it was like we said, just absolutely everything. They came here with a clear game plan and it worked. We had nothing to counter that game plan. They were outstanding, and we were just. I'm sort of coming around to what you said. I think the injuries have sort of come to bite us on the backside a little bit because at the end of the day, we have had a lot of fixtures in a short space of time, and we've had them fixtures with a tiny depleted squad. So we haven't perhaps rotated as much as we could have done. Not that I want to use any of that as an excuse, but it was a very insipid, slow, languid performance. And like you say, there was no movement, no creativity. And that's the only thing I can think of. It's because we've seen no evidence of this in the past. It's just sort of happened today. Even the result against Watford wasn't the result we wanted, but we wasn't poor against Watford. It was just one of those days. Today we was terrible. This was totally different. It was a really poor performance, and it's come out of nowhere. And I don't think there's any evidence to suggest that this is going to continue. I would put it down as a blip. But yeah, they just got the game plan spot on. They exploited our high line. The offside trap just didn't work at all for us today, as it has been. And going forward, there was just too many 5 out of 10s in our team today. Far too many.
Yeah, I think Ogbonna was fantastic for Burnley today. I think that's one problem. When you've got a centre back that's really good for the opposition, you're starting in trouble. There was no. We joke about Spurs bottling it. They got beat by Wolves yesterday, and we all had a laugh about how they bottled it. Well, we bottled it today. We won today. We would have went seventh, and the players bottled it. There was no responsibility on the pitch today. No one wanting to get on the ball. Previous games we've seen us get someone has the ball, about 3 or 4 players are moving, they're coming closer, saying give it to me. Today there was none of that. Everybody stood and looked at each other as if to say, well, what are you going to do with the ball and stuff. And it was just poor. It was disappointing to see. It was really disappointing because this is not what we've come accustomed to. Maybe we have been spoiled. Before the Southampton game, Gonzo said we've had a little phonometer turned up at West Ham. Well, someone turned it right back down today for us because there was none of that whatsoever. And what I expected to happen against Southampton happened today. This is what I thought we were going to be witnessing at St Mary's. Actually, we've seen the opposite. We've seen 11 players dig in, work hard, graft, fight for everything, and get the result. Today, there was none of that. There was just none of that today. And someone said to me, Francis said to me at halftime, what's Pellegrini's plan B? And it was a good point because I said to him, well, he normally at least Declan Rice in the middle on his own just throws on attackers, and he's gone and done it again today. He just took off people around it. Well, Noble stayed on the pitch for some reason, but he just put on attackers. But what frustrates me is we've got Carroll on, who was looking all right, actually. I thought he was doing all right when he came on. He was putting himself about, he was winning stuff in the air, and I didn't think he would affect this game as much because I thought Burnley would handle that. Actually, they couldn't. And but that just shows that if we are resorting to that, it just shows that plan A hasn't worked for whatever reason. It's not worked. But why do we still have Anderson on the left and Diangana on the right? They're to cross the ball, they're having to cut it back, and it takes so much time. The amount of times I've seen Diangana go past Taylor and have to cross it with his weak foot, and he couldn't do it. And it's not Diangana's fault. On the other side of the pitch for Burnley, you've got this 19-year-old left footer running past Antonio, whipping it in with his left foot, and it's causing problems. But we're not doing that because our wide players are having to cut back all the time. It's just, I don't understand it. We're setting up for counter-attacking football, but we're not playing counter-attacking football because there's no room to play counter-attacking football. We're having to do what you naturally do when you're chasing a game. That is, other teams sit back. What have you got? Well, we're set up for counter-attacking football up against a team who are marking their own box. It doesn't work. It suited Burnley the way we were playing for the last half hour of the game and stuff. I would just like to see us swap the sides a little bit and have Anderson on the right, have Diangana on the left, where they get the ball, they ping it in straight away, like Creswell does. That's why Creswell's so dangerous. He takes one touch to get out his feet, and the second touch is to whip the ball in. That's all he does. He barely moves sometimes, Creswell, when he gets the ball. He doesn't even run. He just takes the cross from where he is, but it works, and he's seen it. Unfortunately, it took us until the 88th minute to see it work. But it worked when it did. It just frustrates me so much that we had to learn the hard way, if you like. But the clues have been there for the last few games. Even when we've been winning, the clues have been there. We've just ignored them. And I think maybe we've just ignored them because we've been winning and it's caught up with us a bit. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, hang on, we're still doing all right. We've still won 5 games out of 7. Yes, we have. But we're discussing 90 minutes here. We're not discussing this season so far. We're not discussing last week or next week. We're discussing what we just witnessed. What we just witness was a very lethargic performance from West Ham and players that don't want to take accountability or responsibility, and it's very disappointing. Gonzo, this is going to be the interesting bit because, as you know, and the viewers know, I'll say individual performances. Take your pick, and I think there's quite a few you can choose here.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going back on what you said, this is 90 minutes. When we're all gushing and being enthusiastic, if you take that, you're going to have to take this. And, and as the players, we've praised the players so much recently, and they're going to get a bit of stick now. I mean, Manuel Pellegrini is going to be looking at that today. I bet he can't wait to get Nasri in the team to bring a bit of technique in. I don't know if Nasri will turn out to be good, bad, or indifferent, but today we lacked basic techniques. I said, I bet he's going to be looking for a central midfielder as well. That's for bloody sure. And I bet he's going to be looking for a centre-back. The players I thought come out with some credit today, because I think that's probably easier. Carroll, we've mentioned. I'm not talking they were 9 out of 10 or anything like that, but I think they tried. And Carroll, I think Antonio tried today. He's not a right back, but he tried. When there was times when he carried the ball forward and he was almost the only one willing to do that. And I was looking at others. You mentioned Anderson. Why hasn't he carried the ball forward at all? Because he was scared. He retreated within himself. And unfortunately, we didn't have enough players with technique. So Anderson wasn't able to dig us out of a hole today. And that's what we needed. I'm not saying he's always dug us out of a hole when he's played well, but I think he sort of did against Southampton, really. And today he wasn't able to. And that's why there's been all this talk about, oh, will Lanzini get back into the team? We'll have a look at that today. That's why Lanzini gets back into the team. That's why some others get back into the team as well. Because you can't only have one player that can consistently create in the team. Today was off. We didn't have anything to do it. So I did think, at least when Antonio was running at them, he offered some threat. He got their defenders turning backwards. So fair play, Antonio. He had to go. I thought Cresswell, was okay. Was trying his best. That's okay. I mean, there was some defensive lapses down that side. Make no mistake about it. But I thought he had a go, Cresswell, and I think he wanted it. I think he was showing for the ball, and I don't think he went into his shell. I think the other one was Rice. I think what you mentioned in the second half was right, and it was almost like he was left on his own to a certain extent there, and it certainly seemed, particularly the last 20 minutes, that second half, like he was playing in the midfield on his own. But I thought he embraced it, and I thought he went for it, and even he was trying to carry the ball forward. You saw there was one part when Diangana did really well, did all the hard stuff. I think possibly Antonio played him in. Diangana did really well. He got into the box and he passed it to the Burnley player, and Rice was there. It moved into position inside the box and wanted it. So I thought Rice can come away with some credit. As for the and of course Fabianski. Sorry, one more. Just so much other bad stuff on there, mate. So much other bad stuff.
Would you care to talk us through the bad stuff?
Well, what was Perez? What's he doing? What's going on? I mean, come on. What's he do? I know he scored a couple of cup goals, didn't he? What's he do? If he's on the pitch, I hope he scores a couple against Birmingham, because that's what we're looking at. I want a cup run now, but what does he do? Does he run? Does he dribble? Does he pass? What does he do exactly? What's his job? What position does he play? And now maybe I'll go easy on Arnie, but what was going on? Where was he? I didn't see him. I kept having to check. My son asked during the game. My son's not an idiot. He's 9. He watches West Ham. He knows all the players. He said, Daddy, is Arnautovic playing today? About 25 minutes into the game. And do you know what? I had to laugh. He wasn't wrong, was he? Let's be perfectly honest with you. And what the two centre-backs were playing at, I don't know. I mean, possibly Diop's worst game there. Having said that, he did do a couple of last-ditch tackles as well, which, maybe it might have been 6 or 7 or whatever. I don't know, but there was also some errors. Ogbonna was horrendous. I bet. Never mind looking for players in January. Crikey, January's in a couple of days. I bet that's too late for Pellegrini. I bet he's thumbing his way through the old yellow pages or whatever, looking to find a centre back on a free or something somewhere. I mean, I'm be surprised if he can't play him again. I really wouldn't. Absolutely terrible. I just don't, honestly, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened to Mark Noble today. I mean, the thing is with Mark Noble as well, apparently the story was that he'd been dropped for the Southampton game. So I expected him to be, really with it today. He's not knackered. And a bad game from Noble. And again, it's about 90 minutes. I'm talking about Mark Noble's career or future. 90 minutes, terrible. Terrible today. Have I missed anyone out? I don't know. No, but Snodgrass again. You didn't notice him. You said it. I don't know. Load of old rubbish.
Tom, individual performances. Take your pick. You can praise or criticise. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll criticise a couple as well. I think to start off with, Ogbonna's the obvious one. I know you've just mentioned him. You've said in the past, Gio, and I've always totally agreed with you, that he doesn't work in a back four. And we got away with it against Southampton. He had an okay performance, but consistently, I can't see him working in the back four. But not only that, I think it's Pellegrini's tactics. I don't think he can play with a high line with the offside trap. I think he's awful on the turn. I don't think he's got hardly any recovery pace in him at all. And I don't think he's got the footballing brain for it either. I think if you're defending your own box with a back three, I think he can excel and he can look good. But not like this. I think Diop struggled a bit without Balbuena. I think Balbuena is perhaps that ingredient that sort of brings everything together in that back four, because I think he's got it up there. I think he's such an intelligent centre half, and I think he helps the others out. So yeah, Ogbonna was he was awful, really was awful. As most of Perez, you've already said it, we didn't see him, absolutely atrocious. Arnautovic, poor. Good performances. It's literally everybody that Gonzo said. You've got to say Fabianski, because he made some great saves. He wasn't at fault for any of the goals. Declan Rice again did what Declan Rice does. I thought he was very good on the ball, and I thought he was the one that was trying to move things around in the middle of the park, when I perhaps expected a bit more from Noble. And Antonio, yeah, that's now a couple of good performances for him at right back. So really impressed with that, because he's took a lot of stick, and he's took a lot of stick from me. I didn't think he had it in him, but he was really good again today. And he was, I thought he was a good 7 out of 10, which compared to everyone else was absolutely fantastic. And Aaron Creswell didn't put a foot wrong. Whipped in a great ball for Andy Carroll that should have been an assist. So, yeah, that's about it, really, mate.
I'm only really going to echo what you two said, but I thought Fabianski was superb. He stopped it being embarrassing after about an hour mark. On the hour mark, it could have been about 4 or 5 Burnley. It probably should have been more than 2. He stopped it. He's just such a good keeper. I thought Antonio played really well, actually. I thought Antonio played really, really well. Out of the back 4, I exclude Creswell from this. He was the only one that played to the whistle. There was one point in the second half. The ball come in for Barnes, and Barnes was offside. But when the ball was in the air, Diop and Ogbonna just stood there, and Antonio moved to think, well, in case the flag doesn't go up. And there's what are 2 centre backs who, while Diop's young, is as experienced as you can get for a 21-year-old. When you're the France under 21 captain, you're the captain of Toulouse, etc. I expect a bit better from you. Ogbonna's experienced as they come, and they're both standing there just watching. And Antonio, who's not even a right back, is the one doing the defensive work and trying to get back on side. He gave 100%, and actually, he was until Diangana came on, he was our most dangerous threat going forward as well. I felt really sorry for Antonio, actually, because the amount of times he ran up the pitch, and this is where having a left footer in Antonio's way almost buggers Antonio up, because there's too often Antonio and Diangana were getting in each other's way. And Diangana was trying to go past his man, and Antonio was trying to overlap at the same time. So they're both like trying to move into the same space a little bit. If you had Anderson over there and let Antonio overlap so that he takes the defender away and gives Antonio Anderson that yard to cross the ball, and it would just work. But we've got 2 players trying to do the same thing, and I felt sorry for Antonio. I really, really do. The only one playing to the whistle, and Ogbonna absolutely hung him out to dry for that second goal. By the way, he was standing in no man's land. I don't even know what he's doing. I watched replay a few times. I still can't work out what he's trying to do. I try and give them the benefit of the doubt and think, okay, I see what he's trying to do here. It's just not work. I really cannot get what Ogbonna is trying to do here. And he is just awful. I've never liked Ogbonna back 4, except Upton Park, yes. But he's just poor. He is really, really poor. And he has this air of, I don't care. Maybe it's just me that picks up, but if something happens, you look at Ogbonna, he's almost like smiling, just walking around like, oh, it's 2-0 now. That's the last thing you want to see when you're losing. You almost want someone go over and grab him and shake him and say, like, are you here? Are you playing football? The only time Ogbonna looks good is when we've got a corner, because he's good in the air when we're attacking. He was unlucky not to score, but apart from that, he's awful. Creswell did fine, created our best chance of the game. Snodgrass, I'm only just going to assume he was knackered today. I can only assume he is tired. But Antonio's the only player today. Antonio's the only player playing out of position. Okay, there's no excuses for the rest of them. He's the only one out of position. Snodgrass, you came here and complained you weren't being played right mid. Well, now you're being played right mid. Diangana, that's where you play. Everyone is in their same positions except Antonio today. I thought this was Mark Noble's poorest performance in a long, long time. I'm a big fan of Noble. I went to see him in. Well, I got that wrong because he was awful today. He was rubbish. He's supposed to be the guy who gets the ball from defence and moves it up the pitch. He wasn't doing that. He got booked. He now misses the Brighton game. Well, that's just stupid, isn't it? When we're already got a really thin squad, now you're missing. Okay, Obiang can come in, but now we're going to have a youngster on the bench, or we might have Nasri on the bench to replace Obiang. But it's just a stupid thing to do. It's a stupid tackle to give away. He used to do it once a game. Noble gives away a free kick outside the box. Well, he's gone back to that Noble today because there's no need to dive in, but he'd done it. Rise, you two have said Anderson got bullied. He really did. The funny thing is, I remember when we played Burnley at home. I remember doing the preview with you, Gonzo, and I said I wouldn't play Anderson for this because he'll get bullied. He turned up and scored 2, and it was the best game we've seen. I thought, oh, well, we've got that wrong. Well, actually, it's now just happened because Sean Dyche has obviously looked at the first game and thought, well, we need to get him booted into Rosette early doors, and Phil Barnsley done it. Phil Barnsley is not a good Premier League right back. He's not. He's a little bit thuggish. It's been like Bruno at Brighton. Remember when Anderson couldn't do it against a 38-year-old right back? The exact same thing's happened again today. Get in early, and you take out West Ham's most expensive player. And Chris Hughton will remember the first game against Brighton. As Gonzo said, Chris Hughton will be watching this thinking, okay, early doors, we're into Anderson, and that's him out the game for 90 minutes. Perez, well, I've tried to defend him, but Jesus Christ. The only thing you can give him is say, Gonzo said, what is his position? I almost think he doesn't know because what is he doing? Did he even touch the ball? Like, what? I don't get it. He's just awful. He really is awful. And Arnautovic, he's either half fit, and if he is, why are you playing him? Or he couldn't be arsed today. It was one of the two, and he's not exempt from criticism. And if he was not just back from injury, or he wasn't Arnautovic and a big fan's favourite, he would have been getting torn to pieces today because he was crap up front. He's supposed to be the guy, your maverick and stuff. Perez, we have to be a bit realistic here. Perez is our fourth choice striker, okay? So you can allow him for being a little bit crap now and again because he is our fourth choice striker. And Arnautovic is supposed to be the maverick. He wants to be the main guy. He wants to be linked to the top floor. His brother / agent is mouthing off saying he could be away to Old Trafford. Well, tell you what, if anybody at a big club looks at that performance today, you're not getting any bloody move out of that because this is the type of games you look to your big players to turn up, and he didn't. Anyway, Gonzo, we've ripped a few players apart, ripped Pellegrini apart. What's your final words on it, please?
My final words, I just want to say, I didn't want to say it earlier on because it sounded like sour grapes. So I think I've got it across that Burnley should have won. Very, very disappointed with how that game was refereed. For them, I thought there was a couple where Ashley Barnes in particular I thought he tried to injure Antonio twice. I thought he tried to injure Diop. If Ashley Barnes gets a blaming injury at some point, you can't complain about it. And I thought Bardsley as well. And it was fine. I understood how they got in. But the other one was Tchaikovsky. I was really, really disappointed how that was refereed because basically the whole time they had those bully boy tactics, and for that Tchaikovsky to take a dive, which he did do with Andy Carroll, he dived. He absolutely dived. Not for a penalty, but he dived. Andy Carroll was already in a card, and he dived to try and get Andy Carroll sent off. And I was really, really disappointed that having played as tough men, that geezer would go like that. And I was really disappointed that the referee seemed to not referee it in an even-handed way. But the moment we tried to get remotely physical, we were punished. They were allowed to do what they wanted. And I'm guessing Dyche knew that was going to be the case for whatever. I'm not saying the referee's paid off, by the way, but I guess Dyche read the referee very, very well on that. And maybe the referee just reacted to that home crowd. So I was disappointed with that. I've got to say, not that I think it affected the result. I think they were winning anyway today, Burnley. The other final thought is that I just don't think Pellegrini's going to be having any of that today. I think we've sat here with the ump. I guarantee he's, in his calm way, he's fuming. So, as I said at the very start, my first comments were some players have had their cards marked today. No doubt about that. I bet Pellegrini's had a good look. He's brought in a lot of players, some of which are injured, and I bet he's had a look over time. I thought this person can play my system. This person can play my system. This is how I want to play, and I expect to see the moment he can. Injuries might not allow it, but the moment he can, he's going to be making changes. He's going to be making changes to this team, be it either for the next game or be it in the transfer window as soon as he can. It was a bad time for people to play like that.
Tom, your final words, please.
Yeah, I think my final words are just that I don't think I'm going to allow myself to dwell too heavily on this. Like I say, I'm convinced this is a one-off. We've not seen any evidence of this recently. We're still on a good run. That's 5 wins in 7. Just trying to take the positives from it because it's been, let's be honest, it's been brilliant lately, hasn't it? It really has. We've been absolutely loving it. We've been enjoying this great run we've been on. We're not worrying about relegation for once, or for what seems like in forever. So, no, don't dwell on it. I think we go again against Brighton and we try and put that right. I think it's a blip. Hopefully just too many games in too much of a short space of time with such a depleted squad. And hopefully, yeah, let's just put it down to that. I'm not going to start ringing alarm bells saying that, you know, I still think we're going to finish 7th, between 7th and 11th. I thought that before the game. I still think that now. The only disappointing thing is we did miss an opportunity to go 7th going into the new year, which I think would have been an absolutely unbelievable achievement considering we lost our first 4 games. So, yeah, a bit of disappointment there. We didn't take advantage, but we're still where I expected us to be. We go again, yeah, that's it, really.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, too. I don't think Pellegrini accept this. Although Pellegrini needs to take some of the blame for today. He got his lineup wrong. He got Arnautovic should have started if he's only half fit. Why is he starting or something? Noble probably should have started ahead of Obiang. Yes, me and Gonzo said to bring in Noble in the preview, but me and Gonzo are West Ham fans. We're not a £13 million a year manager or however much he gets paid. We're not a football manager. We're not a football expert, if you like. We're just fans, and there's a difference between the two. He's got that call wrong. I thought Noble was awful, really, really awful on that pitch today. He's got to go we'll brush ourselves off and go again against Brighton, because as Tom said, it's about the bigger picture. I think that's why we're a bit pissed off today, to be honest, Tom, because higher you climb, the further you fall, isn't it? And we've been on this feel-good factor. We could all see 7. We all knew going into today. Last time we played, it was a case of if we won, we went 6. But if this happened, that happened, we wouldn't, etc. Today there was none of that. It was just a case of win and you go 7. Don't win, you don't go 7. And we can almost touch it, if you like, and end 2018 on a really feel-good factor. And it's just disappointing we're not had it. We can all accept a defeat. Like the Watford one, we stood there and shrugged after and went, well, the players tried, we just weren't good enough on the day. Today we didn't try. There was no passion, there was no effort, and we just have to go again against Brighton. And I wouldn't be surprised we see Samir Nasri start that game now after today. I think the players out there today might have just handed Nasri a walk into the starting 11 kind of thing. But it's going to be interesting. We've got some changes to come at West Ham. More importantly, away from the game, I'll get these two. I'll take a man of match today, because I think there's 1 or 2 players that probably deserve the praise, if you like. But before we do that, there's something slightly more important. There's a West Ham fan that's been missing for a few days now. There's a link in the description that takes you to a Twitter post, which has got his poster. It's got his face on it, and if you know anything, and where to get in contact with, etc. And which that probably just puts football, this result, into perspective at the end of the day, this time of the year as well, especially. But there's a West Ham season ticket holder who's been missing for a few days now. But Gonzo, can I please get your man of match, please?
Yeah, I'll give it. I think I'll probably toss up between Antonio and Fabianski. Fabianski was firefighting. Antonio was trying to drive forward and try and get us back into the game. For that reason, I'll give it to him and wish everyone a happy new year.
Antonio for me, Tom.
Yeah, I think I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with Declan Rice, because I think he showed a couple of glimpses of quality in that game that others didn't, just in breaking up play and the way he passed the ball around. And it wasn't a vintage Declan Rice performance as we saw against Southampton, but it was still far better than what a lot of the other players shown today. So yeah, Declan Rice for me.
Yeah. Well, changes maybe a jar for the Brighton game. We'll be doing our preview ahead of that game very soon, probably tomorrow night. Depends, it's New Year's Eve and stuff. But as Gonzo said, Happy New Year to everybody. Thanks for joining us over the course of 2018. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below what you thought about the game. It doesn't matter. This, as I said earlier, this review is for 90 minutes only, not a season so far, which is important. Perspective is important. And also, as I said below, check that link below, because that guy, Jack Morad, has been missing for a few days, and it just puts this result into perspective a little bit. It gives us a sense of reality. Anyway, that's been Gonzo, that's been Tom, I've been Joe, we've been Hamster. Catch you in a bit.